Hello, and thank you for your interest in Rainbow Kids. I am Jennifer Ventura, and I've had the privilege of working with diverse communities in the California Bay Area as an early childhood educator, interventionist, coach, and trainer. Rainbow Kids is designed to assist families, caregivers, teachers, any adult in the lives of young children in navigating the complexities of gender, love, relationships as they explore who they are and the world around them during these early years. We affirm and celebrate what makes each of them and all of us who we are. In our time together, we will describe the factors that make up and influence identity and explore how they shape our experiences. Specifically, we will talk about the topic of intersectionality. Intersectionality is a theory that was developed by Kimberly Crenshaw, a civil rights advocate and law professor, referring to the interconnected nature of social categorizations such as race, class, gender, identity, sexual identity, and disability as they apply individually or to a group, regarded as forming overlapping and interdependent systems of privilege and advantage or discrimination and disadvantage. For example, 4 LGBTQ plus youth are at a school. One is Black, one is Latinx, one is Asian, and one is white. They hold an overlapping experience in their LGBTQ plus identities, but they may experience oppression and racism differently because of their racial and ethnic backgrounds. Rainbow Kids explores the beauty of intersectionality by creating awareness of the multi-layers that make up who we are, consisting of multiple intersecting identities, not limited to gender identity, gender expression, race, culture, ethnicity, religious beliefs, sexual identity, and sexual expression. Think of a multicolored mosaic glass. It is the existence of each individual color coming together that creates a piece of art. As one color of our identity coexists with other colors of our identities, it creates a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. Everyone is unique, and that's something to be celebrated. But if we only focus on one aspect of someone's identity, we miss out on their full beauty and experiences. Personally, my faith and being part of the Latinx community are an important part of my identity because they align with my values and culture. You wouldn't be able to tell just by looking at me, but I'm a proud Central American. I was born in the US, but spent my early childhood years in Nicaragua. These aspects of my identity are significant because they have led to a variety of experiences. Like a mosaic, each piece contributes to the complete picture of my identity and it shapes my narrative. Understanding intersectionality provides us with the opportunity to create dialogue reflecting on inequalities based on past paradigms, culture, and social constructs. As Dorothy Knoll states in her poem, "Children learn what they live." If children live with acceptance, they learn to love. The study of child development emphasizes that children's brains are like sponges, absorbing everything in their environment. Every piece of information they soak in makes connections in their brain that influence how they interpret the world. Young children make connections about their world. And as educators, we have daily experiences of how children do so in the classroom. Let's pause and think about this scenario. As you observe children playing during free play, you see 3 children playing in the dramatic play area. One of the children rushes towards you and tells you that Alex said only girls can be cooks. Alex approaches you and says, "Right, teacher, only girls can cook." A child who wasn't playing in the dramatic play area gets close to you and the other children and says, "My dad cooks at my house and makes the best enchiladas." Have you encountered similar conversations among children in your classroom? How would you have handled this situation as a teacher? Some examples could be, you could say, "Cooking is something everyone can do," or "My grandma did not love to cook as much as my grandpa." This example demonstrates a gender stereotype, a bias that society often perpetuates in subtle and not so subtle ways. Every day, we are delivering messages to young children, shaping their notions about who they are and who's in their world, through media and marketing, through how we dress them and the toys we give them, and even through subtle word choices. In my experience as an educator, it is common to say, "This is for girls and this is for boys," or "Let's line up, one line for girls and one line for boys." What are other ways we can start to use gender-neutral language in the classroom? Some possible ways we can think about using gender-neutral language in the classroom during daily classroom routines is by saying, please line up in 2 rows. Everyone who's wearing red, form one line, and everyone else, let's form another line. Or assign the children with fun labels like the jellyfish and the sea turtles, so they line up by their favorite animal. Our word choices typically acknowledge the existence of only 2 genders, male and female, boy and girl. That gender is binary. In fact, there's an extensive notion of gender outside of the Western culture. For example, the Muxes, a group within the indigenous Zapotec people of Mexico, are often referred to as their gender. Their existence challenges the gender binary within the Western society because they blend characteristics associated with both women and men, at least as defined by the Western society. This offers a clear example of the multifaceted nature of identity. The culture of the Zapotec people intersect with gender here, as it is recognized as a third gender. This intersectionality influences how the Muxes identify themselves and interact with the world. Imagine how different might their interactions be if they were to step out of the Zapotec community and into the Western society. How would most view them? How would that impact their view of themselves? There are, in fact, other examples of communities around the world that also define the idea of only 2 genders. 3 examples of these communities are the Hijras in India, the Bakla in the Philippines, and the Afafafine in Samoa. They identify as non-binary, neither male nor female, and they play essential roles within their communities. Even though they may exhibit traits typically associated with femininity, the Muxes, the Hijras, the Bakla, and the Afafine do not conform to the traditional gender roles of male or female. These cultures define the notion of gender binary. We can also do so by educating ourselves and holding a more expansive understanding of gender. One important and powerful way we can do so is by using correct pronouns. It's perfectly fine to ask someone for their pronouns or share your own. By using correct pronouns, you recognize and affirm who that person is and help them feel accepted and supported. For example, in the Spanish language, both written and spoken, it can be challenging to use inclusive language due to the gendered pronouns. In most Spanish nouns, the final syllable indicates whether it's feminine or masculine. To address this issue, activists have introduced the letter X at the end of the words. For example, instead of using Latino or Latina, we can use Latinx. Ending with the letter X instead of O or A enables an inclusive, non-gender reference. Another example, new vocabulary has been developed. Spanish speakers can use ella, ellos to refer to they, them pronouns. These are just a couple of simple but powerful ways to make someone feel supported and accepted, and a salient example of how language and gender intersect. As an educator, I have seen firsthand how young children form their ideas about gender, and our words can have a powerful impact on them. Recently, I observed some preschool classrooms, and 2 children asked me if I was a boy or a girl. I responded by asking them what they thought, and one of them said, girl. The other child continued to stare at me, waiting for a response. The child asked me for my name, and I told the child it was Jennifer. When the child asked why, I explained that it was the name my mother chose for me. After a pause, the child said, you're a boy. Both children stared at me, but then they looked at each other, looked back at me, and then ran off to the climbing structure. As I look back at those interactions, I can't help but wonder what was going through each child's mind. What do you think the children were thinking? Their curiosity and reactions made it clear that they were attempting to make their connections about gender. This exchange urged me to take a moment to pause during the conversation rather than feeling compelled to offer a definite response. I imagine that these children were processing or perhaps reprocessing their notions of what a boy and a girl should look like. How wonderful. Unboxing gender, taking our traditional notions of gender and opening them up is a learning journey. But by taking time to learn and practice new skills and taking steps to create a safe world, We can create acceptance and support for LGBTQ plus youth people and anyone who does not fit into a fixed notion of who they should be. As a proud member of the Latinx, LGBTQ plus, and early childhood educator community, I invite you to participate in this journey. Con orgullo, siendo miembro de la comunidad Latinx y LGBTQ+, y educadora de la primera infancia, les invito a participar en esta jornada. To unbox what we know about gender, love, and families. A desencajar lo que sabemos sobre el género, el amor y las familias. Let's take this first step together. Tomemos este primer paso juntos.